Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be presenting this community development proposal today to the Kahler Glen community on behalf of the Kahler Mountain Club. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Scott Perry, for those of you who have not met me. Myself, my wife, and my two daughters are property owners in the Kahler Glen community, and we've owned there since 2019 and have grown to really love the community and everything that it provides, along with the greater Lake Wenatchee area. I remember having this initial conversation with Rex Lund and other members of the community board in the summer of 2020 when the previous golf course operations were looking to sell their operations. They wanted out of the business, and the community was having a bit of a hard time finding someone to take over the operations, and thinking to myself, well, this is an opportunity where we may be able to come in and do a bigger thing than just merely have someone take over the golf course operations, where we could really refresh the community and quote unquote reset it for another 30 years by building brand new facilities, doing significant upgrades to the golf course, etc. Now, obviously, a small rural golf course operation in and of itself could not financially be capable of doing that. And so that's why I was suggesting to the board at the time, property development, which was the original foundation of how Kahler Glen was really built and supported, was a way we could, again, today, help support really refreshing this community for the next 30 years. Those conversations culminated in a presentation I provided to the community in December of 2020 with just the initial high-level plan of what my approach would be if I came in to take over not just the golf course operations, but look to do a bigger picture refresh of the entire community. The subsequent year and a half since that initial proposal has been a long process of putting a development team together and really scoping out the feasibility of those concepts I put together and presented to the community. A long story short, it is not an easy process developing land up in the mountains by Lake Wenatchee, and I've learned a lot over the past year and a half, especially when you're looking at building on land that is not ready for sewage, is not ready for water, is not zoned to develop property on. So we've learned a lot, but at the same time, we are more excited now than we've ever been about the opportunity to do this, and we feel strongly that this is a great opportunity for the community. On top of that, I've been working very closely with the community board, over the past year, and really intensely, I would say, over the past 6 months, just making sure we're all, on the same page with each other as far as what we're trying to develop, and making sure it supports current community members as well as new community members, and longtime community members and future community members. So I feel like we've had a really good and strong and productive relationship, strategizing about what we would like to do and how we would like to approach this project. And I think we've come to a great consensus on how we want to proceed. So without further ado, let's get into this presentation. The items I'm going to be going over in detail today are, first off, discuss the new clubhouse, pro shop, and restaurant facility, then discuss the remodeled athletic club, followed by investments into the golf course, details on the townhouse development, an overview of the land purchase and how we as KMC have valued the land we would purchase from the community, and then finally KMC services that we will provide to the community as part of this proposal. Let's start off with the new clubhouse here, which, honestly, in my opinion, is one of the marquee components of this whole project. As you see on this slide here, we've got a few artistic renderings of architectural concepts of what the new clubhouse and restaurant facility will look like. But this is really about resetting the entire prestige of the community, a brand new grand entrance to the community. No longer are you going to be coming up Clubhouse Drive and being greeted by the golf cart barn. we're going to really create a true beautiful grand entrance into the community where not just for community members, but people from the public that are coming to the restaurant or the pro shop and golfing, they'll come in and they'll just see this beautiful structure right at the entrance coming in. And especially when you're looking at potential home buyers or values of your property, first impressions of a community, of any community, are so important. And this is going to create that high level, in my opinion, the greater Lake Wenatchee area, the most prestigious community in the whole area. On top of having this new grand interest in this beautiful facility with spectacular views of hole one and that great first impression coming into the community, the other advantage of how we're building this, and as you can see on the map outlined here, is we're creating a new parking lot right at the entrance of the community. So there's no more confusion of when you're driving into the community of, where do I go? I don't know where to go to check in to the golf course. I don't know where the restaurant is. I get a lot from people that come to the community, both members that live in the community and people that don't live in the community, saying it definitely is a confusing approach of how it's structured currently. So we really thought long and hard about how do we build this so it's very clear where the public parts of the community are, which are these parts right here, and then where the private parts of the community are, where the homeowners live and whatnot. And we feel this new approach of how we're reorganizing where the clubhouse and restaurant are located, creating a better parking lot area in that front so it's more obvious to people coming in where they should be going. That really creates that separation, and it makes it clear to the public visitors where they should stop and where they should go, and then the homeowners or friends of homeowners can go on further into the community. All right, let's start diving in and taking a little bit more detailed look about the space and how it's structured itself. First off, as I just mentioned, a consolidated and better organized commercial space is just really key. There's not less roaming around. It's much more simple. People know where they need to go and where they should be. You've got a connected pro shop to the golf cart staging area and driving range, so it makes for a better and more fluid user experience. Golf cart storage is going to be there, but instead of some ugly golf cart barn that we all have to look at every day when we drive by the golf cart barn, it's going to be in the basement structure of the new clubhouse. So it will be below those buildings and hidden from view. Direct connection between the clubhouse, driving range, and hole one tee box, so it creates a more social atmosphere. We're going to have a community clubhouse and lounge, which does not exist in the current clubhouse. So a nice seating area where you don't necessarily have to be sitting in the restaurant, buying food and drink. The restaurant will be able to serve there, but it will just be a community lounge space. Great outdoor seating and patio. So it's all just, great community gathering space there, whether you are a golfer or not. Also, not to mention, the restaurant space is going to be this beautiful 2-story high ceiling, large bay windows looking out with just a beautiful view of the hole one tee box and hole one in general. It will be a much nicer facility than currently exists in the current clubhouse. Another huge advantage of how we're building and where we're building these new facilities is the winter recreation activation. The clubhouse as it exists today really provides no support to the winter recreation activities, which there is a lot of in the Kahler Glen community. So now with these new facilities, we're going to be able to do a lot. As I've outlined here on this slide, we want to build better access to this ice skating rink, which we'll build as part of this project. Outdoor patio and fire pits will be right there next to access to the ice skating rink. So, you think if families are there and the kids are out on the rink, it's a much easier setup for, parents and grandparents to sit down and relax while people are out on the rink. With the pro shop located right there, We're looking forward to activating the pro shop during the wintertime. The pro shop's closed down during the wintertime right now, other than letting lodging people check in and check out. So we'll be able to sell winter clothing. We'll have a bunch of rental gear available, whether it's snowshoes or cross-country skis or ice skates, etc. So there will be a lot available for people just showing up and being able to either purchase or rent equipment to be able to use the winter activities. Snow park parking, we'll obviously work with the state parks, make sure the snow park parking exists. It'll be a much better setup than it currently is with the parking lot as we have it structured, as you see here. The restaurant being right there will be easier for them to provide food and beverage service, since it's a real convenient location to where, whether it's ice skating or snowshoeing or cross-country skiing, it all kind of starts right there in the community. So it'll all be right there. The other big advantage is public bathrooms right there. I've talked to a lot of people where with the cross-country skiing and ice skating, they don't they have to use outhouses. They don't really know where the public bathrooms are. The fact that we have this commercial facility right here at the grand entrance to everything, it will allow people easier access to the bathrooms. All right, these next two slides here get into the details of the building layout and amenities provided. So, let's start here with the basement, which is, you don't really see this on this overhead image here, but the basement's underneath this main floor structure here, and that will be a big open space for golf cart storage for the pro shop and restaurant, and a restaurant prep space. That's, I think, one of the biggest advantages to this new structure is, getting rid of that current cart barn that exists and not having to see that eyesore as you drive in every day into the community. It will be hidden away in a beautiful structure now with the golf cart staging right there, so easy access to get the golf carts in and out. The main floor, there will be, as you see the stairs there in the middle, there will be this open causeway covered with a roof, but it will be an open causeway that goes through the middle with one structure on each side. So on the left was the pro shop and the KMC offices. That will be to the left of the causeway as you're walking through. Then on the right is the clubhouse and the restaurant. And so, as I said earlier, what doesn't exist in the current clubhouse facility is an actual clubhouse. So this one we will have a public clubhouse lounge space where there'll be a fireplace, you'll be able to sit and be casual, be open to the public, indoor and outdoor seating there. And then the restaurant space will be a beautiful restaurant, much nicer space than currently exists. Same big interior space with great views of the tee box and hole 1. Also, we'll have covered outdoor seating there. The kitchen will be on that floor as well. Public restrooms are going to be on this floor. So it will just be a great space, in my opinion. So we're also going to have a second floor, upper level, in the clubhouse and restaurant facility. So as I said earlier, the restaurant space, dining room space in and of itself, we're going to keep that 2 stories high in elevation with the big, beautiful windows and beautiful views looking out. But what we are going to do is we're going to put a second floor above the clubhouse lounge, and we're also going to put a second floor above the commercial kitchen space. And so there's going to be 2 uses for that. So the clubhouse lounge, the second floor, will essentially be a continuation of the clubhouse lounge. There's going to be both indoor and outdoor seating up there. We're going to put the golf swing simulator up there. We talked about putting the virtual swing simulator potentially in the athletic club, but as we were looking at the development and how we wanted to orient the space, along with, interviewing athletic club members, at the end of the day, we feel that the swing simulator is better located, in the restaurant and clubhouse facility. But it is definitely something we want to have to do. We know there's a lot of community members that would like to, in the wintertime, keep their swing going. And then above the kitchen space, we're going to have an event space. And so it's basically will be a large room that we could serve up to 100 people, and so that will be great, whereas the community currently doesn't have much for event space. So whether it's a golf tournament, whether it's a wedding, whether it's someone's birthday party, they want to have a private event for, this is going to be a great space to do all of those things. And then the final thing I haven't mentioned is the driving range. And so we do, as you see in some of the images in earlier slides I presented, we're looking to build a covered structure over the driving range. We're going to look to widen the area of the driving range. So the covered area will be great, whereas you can, it protects a little bit from the sun and the wind and rain. The widened area will allow for us to build bar seating and bar tabletops along the back if people have food and drink, that they want to set there while they're using the driving range. So that was the overview of the new clubhouse facility we're going to build as part of this proposal. But also another big part of this proposal is that we committed a significant amount of money to the remodel of the athletic club for the community, which I think is also a nice and very important thing to do for the community. So there are a number of things that we're looking to do at the athletic club to really, again, refresh this facility for the community for the next 20, 30 years. It's a great structure. It's a great club that is, a lot of energy and effort is put into over the years, but it's, just as everything, it gets a little long in the tooth over time. And so it's the perfect time to come in and refresh it. And part of this property development proposal, we're going to have the capital and be able to do it. So, first off, just starting with just the basic upgrading of finishing materials throughout, flooring, tile, paint, the seating, gym equipment, just all of just the normal stuff inside that just to make it look nicer, cleaner, more updated with what we've got. Secondly, we are looking to do a pretty major structural improvement, and that is to expand the second floor. So, that top left picture you can see there kind of shows the current second floor as it exists. There's not a lot of space up on the second floor. So we do feel, we need to get architects and engineers involved, but we can redo the roof line that exists, above the gym facility right now, and that will let us really expand that second floor. And a big part of expanding that second floor is really to be able to expand the gym and the services, workout services we provide via the gym. So, as everyone that our athletic club members currently know, it's pretty packed in with the gym equipment and whatnot, and not a lot of extra space. So if we can really expand that upper floor space, that's going to allow us to have separate workout facilities where you've got your separate space for weightlifting, you've got a separate space for more cardio type activities, you've got a separate space for classes, whether it's yoga or cross training or spin class or any of the above. And so really looking to be able to spread out and have more space, and I think there's an opportunity to do that with expanding that second floor space. Third, a pretty big redesign of the outdoor community area. You can see a picture in there, some tables and chairs we already brought in, but on top of that, again, with expanding that second floor structure, part of doing that is we can have a partial covered area in the outdoor area, so that will be nice for, it's not just pure summertime. You can, probably not full on wintertime, but you can use, with a partial covered area for whether it's workout space or, just cooking and eating space, with a built-in kitchen. You can use it for a longer period of time. We're also looking to put in an outdoor hot tub out there. People love to have outdoor hot tubs, especially in the wintertime. It's a nice thing to have. So that will be nice to have that out there. So we'll have both an inside hot tub and an outdoor hot tub when that's done. And then the final major item is a redesign of the locker rooms, and I would say that's not just updating of the finishing materials, even though that is a lot of it, updating the finishing materials, but it's also re-looking at how that space is used, and we feel, and what Lucy's, I think many of you know Lucy Payne, who's the manager there, but she also feels there's a much better usage of the space if we reorient and redesign those locker rooms, in a different ways. So we'll be looking to do that as well. But with all those things added up, it's a decent amount of money and capital to do it, but I think it will really activate many more spaces of this athletic club and make it more usable to a wider audience amongst the community when it's done. Now let's discuss investments into the golf course. As many of you know, maybe not everyone knows, I purchased the athletic club and the golf course last year. I purchased the athletic club about halfway through last year, and the golf course at the end of the last year. And I think I will give a lot of credit. It starts with Karen Bowder and Danny Sanchez and both of their crews. We have done a lot of work already on good faith in the golf course. Some of these pictures right here, I feel tell a lot of the story of just how much has been done and can be done when you have a solid group of people that are very passionate about the course. You give them some capital to work with. You give them the proper tools with new machinery to work with, and a lot can be done. I am pretty amazed with what's gotten done already. There's a lot more we're looking to do over the next few years, which I'm very excited about. Some of it's just improving the operations on its own, and then some of it goes into the co-investment that you've seen some of the community communications that have gone out, where the community over the long term will support a lot of the capital I'm putting in to improve the landscaping infrastructure of the golf course. But I'm just very excited with what we've done, where we're at. A lot of people have already approached me directly or indirectly through other people that are working at the golf course, and just have said how impressed they are with what's been done already. And so I appreciate hearing that. So if anyone else wants to come up and tell me, I always appreciate hearing that, because it's not easy work, and not just me. I would say more importantly than me, tell the people that are working on the course every day that you appreciate what they're doing, because it's a lot of hard work. It's taken a lot of energy and a lot of capital, but I think we can turn this golf course into one of the nicest golf courses in all of Chelan County. So to highlight some of the operational improvements, first off, one of the biggest and most important things that is, I increased the HR budget when we came in. We had great staff there that were very passionate about the Kahler Golf Course, and really wanted to see it not just succeed but improve over the years. And I've been so happy with how much passion they've come. Like, I've put a lot of, I don't know, pressure on them. I don't know if pressure is the right word, but I've asked a lot of them this year to dive in and do a lot more, and they have just dove in head first and have done it. I've been impressed. I've been so impressed with it. We expanded the staff, which is an important component, whereas we wanted to move away from just a minimum maintenance scenario where we have just enough staff to just do the basic maintenance, to like having enough staff to go above and beyond, where the minimum maintenance plus we're able to do projects in the meantime. So we've done a lot of that. We've invested a lot in new machinery. As you see some images here, we've got a bunch of new machinery for the landscaping of the golf course, like the new mowers you see there. We've got new golf carts coming in. Some beautiful new golf carts have been getting delivered, new electric golf carts over the past few weeks that are going to be going into circulation soon. There's a picture there, new patio furniture that I got for both the restaurant and the pro shop. So it's a good setup to hopefully activate that outdoor space even more, make it easier for people to come, whether you're golfing or not, just to be able to hang out and enjoy the views, enjoy the weather there. Fertilizing budget, we increased a lot. Which I think people will probably notice with how green and beautiful that golf course looks right now. Seasons pass pricing, a lot, we got very aggressive. We want people to be members, to be season pass holders, using the golf course a lot on a day-to-day basis. I think that was very successful, something we'll continue years in the future. I've been working very closely with the Wildflower crew, Colin and Desmond and all of them, and we've started lunch service. So if you didn't know that, please enjoy Wildflower lunch service on the weekends. They are now providing it. It would be great to, I know a lot of people have really wanted them to provide lunch service over the past few years, and so please go and support them now that they are, and hopefully with more and more users of the golf course, that will help that keep going too. The Cuban sandwich is spectacular if you haven't had it yet. So those are some examples of what we've been just doing on the day-to-day operations side to improve things. And then the other big part of the community development proposal is the landscape improvements that I've committed to investing a minimum of $250,000 in, that the community will pay back over a 10-year period of time. Honestly, it will probably end up being quite a bit more than that, but that was the minimum I've committed to invest in that, and that's and it's also the maximum of what the community will have to pay back. So if I come in and invest more than that to improve the infrastructure of the golf course, which I plan on doing, that will be on me, and I'm fine with doing that because I personally am taking a lot of pride in having one of the nicest golf courses in Chelan County, and how that affects the marketability of the community. Obviously the core of what I'm doing here is to be able to build and market properties and townhouses that I'm building. So it's going to be very important to have that high level of marketability. But that's not just a good thing for me. Remember, that's a good thing for every single homeowner in the community. So here's an outline of what, a lot we've already done. A lot of people been on the course and know that we're replacing all the bunkers and sand traps with new, higher quality white sand. Not only does it look way better, it plays way better when you're playing out there. That's going to get all done this year. We've been putting in and replacing some of the cart paths. The cart paths are in major need of repairs, a lot of them. We've been actively doing that. We have a lot of new signage and wayfinding. We have brand new flags and flag poles, which just make things look clean and crisp. We've been doing and are continuing to do irrigation improvements to keep the course not just looking green, but get rid of the dry spots, get rid of the soggy spots, investing in that. But and then there's other stuff that we haven't even really started doing a lot yet, but it's part of the plan of what to do. Cart path safety and fencing. As golfers are out there know, we have got some cart paths. We've honestly had a few incidents this year where people go off the cart paths, but some of these elevated cart paths, they need some more safety fencing around them. Tree stump hole repairs throughout the course. Reformatting some greens so the approaches are a little bit easier and more playable. Reformatting some of the bunkers, which we've been doing some of that, but there's some more that we'll do. We maybe even add some bunkers in the future, and then other landscaping improvements throughout the course. All of this are items of the quote unquote co-investment with the community. So we've already been doing a lot of these things on good faith. Hopefully everyone is seeing these and recognizing these, but it's not just that. I mean, there's a lot more we want to do over the next few years. All right, let's dive into the townhouse development part of the development proposal, which is, at the end of the day, the core of what helps and drives to pay for all of these improvements I've been talking about in the presentation to this point. So, we're looking to build up to 42 townhouses. There's going to be 2 development areas that I will hit on in the next slide, where we're going to build them. As you see here, we've got some images, artistic renderings from my architecture firm of the general concept of how the neighborhood will look, how it will be formatted. The general working term we have for the townhouses is mountain modern, is a style of townhouses, which I think will fit into the community very well from a stylistic standpoint. So this slide right here outlines the areas of development and the type of product we're going to bring to market. So first off, areas of development. So there's on the right side, you'll see what we're calling the resort core townhouses. And so that's where we're going to build 24 to 26 homes. Will be built in 2 phases. The first phase of these townhouses will be built at the same time that we're building the new commercial structures, clubhouse and remodel of the athletic club. The second phase to come right after those are complete and the first phase townhouses are sold. Then on the left side, what we're calling the whole 5 townhouses, we're just calling them whole 5 because they're kind of down by the green of hole 5 over there. So there will be 12 to 16 townhomes to be built. Those will be built in phases 2 and 3. So, when we're finishing off the townhouses in the resort core area, that's where we'll start building the townhouses in the whole 5 area, first phase of those, with the second phase of those townhouses going in after those units are sold off. And the reason we do 3 phases of this is potentially you can consolidate them into shorter phases, but really it's just a lot of that's about how much product you're bringing on market at any one time, and not trying to oversaturate the market. It is the main reason to build them in phases. The other thing over the whole 5 areas, we're potentially looking at to build some additional storage units below whole 5. The kind of that deep covered area where there's a bunch of trees around. You will never really be able or want to build houses down there, but that could potentially be a good spot to build some storage units, which is something both for the owners of the townhouses that we're going to sell, but just the owners in the community in general. Is storage units are always kind of in high demand, and that's a good area to put them. Over here on the bottom right outlines the average size unit, which is going to be 1,600 to 2,400 square feet, with 2 to 3 bedrooms, with a modeled price per square foot of the $420 to $450 range. So why townhomes? We reviewed and looked at a lot of options of what we might build for housing stock in this community, in this new development, both with my development team privately and working with the community, as far as the characters of the Kahler Glen community, and make sure we were matching up what we were building with what the community wants. We reviewed a lot of options. We reviewed condo hotel options, we reviewed single family home, pure hotel options, townhouse options, and then obviously a mixture of all of those. At the end of the day, townhouses were a pretty clear preferred option for multiple reasons. First off, the character of the Kahler Glen community is owner occupied. So as we looked at the hotel and or hotel / condo combination, it's both with the character of the community and with the economics of running it. We just felt, the size of hotel we would make, it not quite big enough as what it would need to be to really be a self-sustaining operation. So it was pretty obvious that wasn't really a good route to go, from a pure economics of development, and also character of community. Secondly, we believe the townhouses provide some variety to the housing stock that exists in the Kahler community right now. There's a lot of condos, there's a lot of single family homes, there's some townhouses, not a lot. So we think this, bringing in with this product, which also bleeds into the next bullet I have there, it goes into maybe a target demographic that's good, of maybe more established families, larger families that might not be necessarily a good fit for a condo, but at the same time aren't necessarily ready to commit to a single family home. This is maybe a good target for them. Likewise, for either young retirees or almost about to retirees, we also feel like this is a good target, where they may still want a larger home, but they don't want a single family home. So we feel this is a good product to bring to market. As I mentioned earlier, there are preferable economics to doing the townhomes. And lastly, I talked a lot with community board members during this whole process, and I want to say, I took their feedback very seriously, of what we should build, and because I think it's important to have a lot of support amongst the community, and I don't want to come in and build something that a bunch of people in the community don't feel is a good fit with the community. So I think with those negotiations, we all agreed this is the best approach and the best product to bring to market. I already discussed the phase development on an earlier slide, but just to hit on it again in a little bit more detail, this is what we will be looking to do. The phase 1, which would coincide with the construction of the new clubhouse, would be 12 to 14 townhouses built in that resort core area I outlined earlier. Phase 2, we would build the next 14 to 16 townhouses. It would be built about half and half between the resort core area and the new whole 5 area. And then finally, phase 3 would be the remaining townhouses to be built. We will most likely finish off the resort core area in phase 2. It's a possibility we might save some of those for phase 3, and then the whole 5 resort, and then finishing off the whole 5 area is where we would do it. That top picture just kind of has generic boxes there. It kind of outlines what we're looking to do in the whole 5 area. Since it is more phase 2, phase 3, it's not as finely developed as the phase 1 development we're looking to do, as you see in the lower right picture. But a high level of what we're looking to do in that whole 5 area is we're actually looking to potentially reroute the road, Kahler Drive, around a little bit to create more space between the green on hole 6, so that we can put up to 8 townhouses on the upper level, the same level that the condos and the green for hole 6 are, and then with 8 townhouses down below in the lower level with more of the forest view behind them. So that's that's part of what we're analyzing with topography and the difficulties in engineering it would require to reroute that road. As people know, in that area there's a pretty big drop off where the road goes. So that's details we're actually spending a lot of time on in this current process of preparing for the rezoning application. So now that I've finished discussing the townhouse development and what specifically we're going to be building and where we're going to be building it and when we're going to be building it, now let's move on to discuss the land valuation and purchase, which is obviously a very important part of this whole puzzle for the community. There's 3 areas that we're looking at essentially, which is the whole 5 area, which consists of 5 developed lots plus a little additional space. And then in what we call the resort core area, there's the residential piece and the commercial piece of the property. So I haven't spent a lot of time in this presentation discussing the detailed financial aspects of the proposal, mainly because that was outlined in very specific detail in the previous communication that went out from the community board. So I didn't want to spend a bunch of time rehashing everything. But I do think it's important to get into some specifics with the land valuation and purchase price because they were more estimates when that community communication went out, and now that we've finished our analysis, you'll see Heartland, their logo referenced here in the bottom right, that they were the ones that really helped with this analysis, so we can get into specifics of specifically how we valued the land. So starting here, I'm not going to go bullet by bullet on this slide. You can read through that yourselves, but here's a lot of the characteristics and assumptions that go into the property we're looking to purchase in the whole 5 area. It is 5 defined lots, what we call finished lots. Unlike the resort core area, which is not finished lots, these are zoned for single-family homes that you could build on these lots today. Water access is available. Septic is needed in these lots, which affects valuation. So approximately 85,000 square feet in total, or just under 2 acres, is looking to what we'll purchase here. Here's a view of those 5 lots from a topographical perspective. So you can see them outlined there. There are 4 lots on, what I'll call the valley side, the lower elevation side of the road, Kahler Drive, and then there's 1 lot, finished lot that's on the upper side, at the same level as the hole 4 green and hole 6 T-box there. And as you'll see, I've highlighted in yellow a little bit in between, which is not necessarily, it's not a defined lot, but it is land that we would like to include in the purchase price. This slide here just shows and focuses in on a few of the comparable land sales we looked at for finished lots that can be sold in the Kahler Glen community. It's nice that there's been a number of lots that have transacted over the past year and a half in the Kahler Glen community, and we really focused on those lots when looking at and defining value. Obviously, there were more lots in the greater Lake Wenatchee area, but these lots really help us focus in because they're very closely, obviously, associated with the type of lots we're looking to purchase. So this slide here is the punchline on the valuation of those whole 5 lots. Long story short, we're valuing them at $150,000 each, or $750,000 total for all 5 lots. The long short of it is we would expect a lot in the Miracle Mile today to sell in the $225,000 range. There is the attributes of the lots around hole 5 are different for a number of reasons. Topography is different, views are different, and the location in the community is different. So we would expect those lots in general, if you went to the open market, to sell at a discount to the Miracle Mile lots. And so we would expect the lots to be valued in the $175,000 range. And then you take that $175,000 range and in the fact that we need to build septics, build drain fields, build piping to the drain fields, build pumping stations to drain the septic. And so via our conversations with Torrance Engineering, we thought he thought a fair number was about around $25,000 per lot, the cost of building out septic. So we reduce that $175,000 by $25,000 to get to that $150,000 per lot. Now moving to the land in the resort core area that we are looking to build out. On this map here, you've got the Zone 1 and Zone 2 that are all going to be combined as we're going to reroute the road and redo the parking for that grand entrance I discussed earlier. This land is much different than the whole 5 lots because it's not lots, it's just land. There are no legal rights to build in this resort core area. So, building is possible only through a complicated development process. The NPR application, the subdivision application, a bunch of work and energy with lawyers, engineers, architects have to go in to turning these into actual lots that you can build on. So all of those aspects, there's a bunch of other aspects outlined in the bullet points here, which I'm not going to go line by line on them. But at the end of the day, there's essentially no value in this area outside of a developer coming in and spending a lot of time, money, and energy preparing this land to build on. And so the initial presentation I put together for the community and the initial financial feasibility analysis we put together valued this land at around $390,000. We hold and will remain and hold true to that value of $390,000, and we still feel it's worth that residual value when you count all of the work and energy and effort that has to go in to prepare the lots to build on. The other advantage here that, again, with negotiating with the community is we're splitting out this zone between residential and commercial. In Kahler Mountain Club, we're only going to buy the land that we're going to build residential townhomes on. The land that we're going to build the commercial structures on and the parking on, the community will retain ownership of that land. So here's the summary slide of all the land in question that we were discussing. So the whole 5 lots, $750,000. The commercial land, the community will retain ownership, and we will pay $390,000 for the resort core residential land. That would give a total purchase price that KMC would pay the community of $1,040,000, which we believe is fair market value for the land. Arguably more than fair market value for the resort core land, but obviously it's all part of the financial analysis, and so we feel this is a fair price to offer the community for the land and provides a lot of benefits to the community, as some of the communications that the community board sent out to have this cash hit the bank account. So now, to bring it all together, I just want to come around and discuss all the benefits of allowing KMC to do a development project in the Kahler Glen community. Honestly, I have 2 hats I wear while I do this. I have the hat as a developer of, okay, if we do this, is it possible to do it? Is it will it work out? Am I going to make more money than it cost me at the end of the day? But then also, if I put my hat on as a homeowner, owning multiple properties in the community, I have to look at this as someone that lives in the community, someone that has, a wife and kid and 2 dogs that like coming up there and just enjoying being up there. And honestly, when I look at it, when I put that hat and look at it, I think this is an awesome project, and I think it will be great for the community. I think it's going to really renew and reset everything for the next 30 years. It's always been a great community, and it's time to go to that next phase of the community, and this project is going to allow us to get there. In that vein, again, just hitting on the KMC services to the community again, which I know has been discussed via communications that have gone out to the community already, but I want to hit on it again because the services part is a very important part of what we're going to provide here. We're going to have an ongoing operation that manages the golf course, that manages the athletic club, that keeps all of the new buildings we're building and remodeling up to date and up and operational, and along with that, all community members will be KMC members and have full access to all the amenities of the athletic club. Golf season pricing, I will commit they will always be lower to community members versus the public. Non-season pass golfers, community members, everyone will receive 6 free golf passes per season, being part of the Kahler Glen community. 20% off of all services and retail in the athletic club and pro shop. 50% off of all rental equipment to community members, which that is, as I discussed in previous slides, something that we want to offer a lot more of as people want to use all the different activities that are out there, but maybe don't necessarily have the equipment to do it. And then at the end of the day, most importantly, I think the community is supporting a long-term sustainable service models in the Kahler Glen community. We all go together and the community will support it financially. It's by no means the only form of support for this. The financial model has us generating a lot more revenue than what the community is going to provide to keep these operations ongoing. But the community committing to making a certain commitment to this gets that base level of commitment, financial commitment to make sure we can keep all these services going and up to date. And there's no concern about a golf operation shutting down. There's no concern about an athletic club operation shutting down, which obviously we've all dealt with those concerns over the last few years. And so I'm excited about this all coming together and having this operation set up to just continue smoothly going for the next 10, 20, 30 years. So at the end of the day, why support the Kahler Mountain Club in this property development proposal? I tried to really shrink it down into what I consider the most important bullets. So we'll start with, and I've talked about it a lot in this presentation, but renew the Kahler Glen community for the next 30 years. It's been a great place over the past 30 years. Just like any community, you need capital investment and capital influx over generationally to just reset the community, and this will do that. Secondly, co-invest in dramatically upgraded facilities. Third, a significantly improved golf course, both for golfers and just for landscaping and beauty for property owners. Fourth, approved amenities via the clubhouse and athletic club with a long-term sustainable model to keep those up in top condition. So then, what if you don't even care about those 4 bullet points at all? So if I could care less about that. Well, if you could care less about any of that, then the bottom 3 bullet points are very important. Over $1 million of capital into the community coffers from the land purchase. We've got up to 42 new dues payers coming in to the community based on the number of townhouses we built. And then finally, all of this and all this work we're going to do is going to increase property values for everyone. I'm doing a lot of this work to create marketability and increase property value for the townhouses I'm building. But that work I'm doing for the townhouses I'm building and selling, it's going to be the same value to all the existing homeowners in the community. And it will mean higher property values for everyone that lives in this community because we are going to make Kahler Glen the premier destination community in the Lake Wenatchee area. All right, so where are we at right now? What's going on and what's happening right now? So I put this presentation together. I wanted to get it out to the community, and I wanted to record it so everyone can watch it on their own time. They didn't have to show up at a specific time and place to listen to the presentation, because it was important for me to everyone to be able to get it and be able to look at it, whether or not they were able to meet at a specific time. So I'm hoping everyone has a chance to look at this and listen to the presentation. And if you have any questions, comments, or thoughts, to please send it to the community board. We're planning in a few weeks to get together and do a Q&A where we respond to everyone's questions about the project. We're also, as bulleted here, we're actively drafting the final development agreements between KMC and KGCA. That's a pretty big, complicated process. It's going to be, a lot of back and forth, obviously, between us and the community board. It's multiple documents, but things are moving along nicely there. And then also, my development team are spending a ton of time preparing the NPR and subdivision application for Chelan County. As most people are aware, we've had multiple pre-application meetings and received a lot of good information from the county of what they're going to need for this application. And so we've got the team together just putting all that together. And our hope is, when we're ready to have the vote, hopefully have a positive vote for the development proposal, that we will be ready to immediately submit that application into Chelan County, which, by the way, that application in and of itself expected to take in the 6 to 10 month range. It is a pretty long process when that application goes in. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this presentation. I hope everyone found it valuable and you got the details you were looking for from me. If you have any questions at all, please submit them, as we do plan to get that Q&A done in the next few weeks.
Thank you.